Hi, I'm Sandy Genovese and welcome to this episode of the Ellison Education Video Series. We're talking today about folding because when you fold your paper before you cut, you open the door to all types of fabulous projects, and I'm going to show you an example. Here is the letter H that I've cut on the fold so that instead of just cutting the shape out, it actually cuts a little booklet, and I've cut it out of patterned paper that I've decorated. And then I've cut it out of plain white, and I've bound the two together simply with just a regular old elastic ponytail holder, which just is a fun way to be able to hold this together. Imagine if you had someone in the class named Heather, and she wanted to write about herself in words that start with H. She could be happy, she could be hungry, she could be anything that starts with the letter H, but it's a fun thing for them to do. You need to fold the paper before you start. So I'm going to take the letter H and I'm going to fold the paper. I need to make sure that the paper is large enough to cover the letter, and it has to be folded first. And I need to place the fold where I want the booklet to open and close, which for the letter H is not going to be so important, but you do, because it can flip either way. But you do want to think about this for some of the letters and make sure that you place it on the side so that it opens the way a book would naturally open. If you look at this close, you'll see that the blade needs to be exposed. You want this last blade to be ineffective. That's why it's going to stay together as a book. Now I'm cutting it today on the Big Shot Pro machine, so I'm placing it with all of this facing up, and I'm putting the cutting pad on the top, and then I'm going to just roll it through, and so it's going to cut through those layers, but the one place it's not cutting is along the fold. So you'll see that I end up with the letter H. It's nice that this paper was double-sided, so you have patterns on both the inside and the outside. You can go back and cut out as many more white sheets if you want inside pages, and that quickly, after you go and decorate it, you'll have a really cool letter booklet. This is one example, and this is the H in the 4-inch size, I think. Here is an extra large school bus that, once again, it's cut on the fold, and this one has been stapled on the side so that it has room to write information inside. Here is simply an 8-inch circle that's been folded first and cut on the side. So for a social studies project, this is great for filling nice big circular pages with all kinds of information for that as well. Now that's cutting on the folding first and cutting when the fold is on the side, but there are lots of other possibilities. Here is an example of a bookmark I made, and this time the fold is on the top. I have magnet, self-adhesive magnet there, so if I take something that was, I'll take this little flyer, if I want to mark my page, all I need to do is clamp it, and it's nice and solid there because the magnets are holding it in place, but the reason that it works is because the fold is on the top. So you notice I've already got the paper folded first, so I've got my fold, and here's the heart die, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover everything except the blade at the top. So I'm going to leave blade at the top, and I'm going to go ahead, place it in the machine, and put the cutting pad back over the top, and then I'll just crank it through, and this time I'm cutting through the layers with the fold on the top instead of on the side. Now with some designs, and this is why I picked the heart, I don't like seeing something where that much of the design is cut off. So I've gone back and I've cut the solid black heart, and I've gone back and decorated it and added these decorations to it in order to create the one that you see here, where you don't notice that the tips of that heart have been pulled off. If you want to see other options, here is a really fun thing. Some of the letters of the alphabet, they really don't lend themselves really well to a side fold like the letter A. So in this case, I put the fold at the top just like with the heart, and I have the booklet ready like this. Now you'll notice that this time I didn't use the rubber band or the hairband, I used a staple. If you don't have a long neck stapler, this is a cool and an easy tip. You just open up what you want to staple, and since mine's already been stapled once, it's going to stay together, but if you have it loose, you can put paper clips to hold it in place. And while I don't really need another staple, I'll just add one. You open your stapler up so that it's flat, and you find where the fold is, and I'll just go on one side, and you're going to line up your staple with the fold, and I'm stapling directly into, this happens to be a piece of foam core. Cardboard will also work, but what happens now, if I pull it out, it's stapled and those prongs are sitting straight up, and all I have to do is then set it down and take something like a pencil eraser and use that to pull these prongs and flatten them out like so, and that gives you the ability to staple no matter where you want to staple on the page without the need of a long neck stapler. Now these are a couple of options. You also have banners. If you look behind me, you can see the student of the week this week happens to be Marley. Every one of those letters have been cut on the fold and they're just folded over the top, not even glued, they're stapled, which really goes together quickly. And if you want to turn it into more of an art project, I'll bring up Easter. And I'll show you, here is where I've used the block alphabet to spell Happy Easter. Now in this case, because this was going to be part of an art project, instead of using a die cut for the rabbit, I opted to let the kids design their own, and I designed my own as well. However, if you're using the banner idea for something like room decoration, or in this example, maybe you're sending a thank you to a parent and you really need for it to happen quickly, then is where I use a die cut like the folded tulip that's in the center there. All of these were folded on the top, the paper folded on the top before being cut out. You know, when you fold first and then cut, the results are amazing.